All right, let's start this podcast. All right?
Sounds good.
So, how did you get into golf? I got one guess. You weren't good at baseball.
I think I was good at baseball, but I had two older brothers that golfed, and they got to leave the house when we're all 3 years apart, so I was, let's say, 6. One of my brothers was 9. My other brother was 15. So the 15-year-old brother that you look up to is leaving the house to go play golf, and you're not allowed. You immediately want to play golf.
That's fair.
So that's how I got in. Older brothers played golf, and I started tagging along as soon as I could.
So your brother played golf like competitively?
No. They both played. Like, one's better than the other one. One is very good at baseball.
Really?
Yeah, slow pitch. I mean, if that counts.
Beer league?
Yes, he's very good at baseball. My one brother, my oldest brother, was pretty good at golf. That's how I definitely got into it. But no, they didn't play tournaments and travel at that point.
Okay. So clearly this is a golf podcast. We're talking about your brand, talking about how you started, talking about what got you interested in golf to begin with. Can you give people just a little bit of an insight on who you are, what you do, and what this place is?
Yeah, so I'm Brad Henderson. Nice to meet you. Obviously, I've known you a little while, not that long actually. So I grew up in Seaforth, Ontario. Golf was, I don't know, I had a club in my hand at 3 years old at a driving range at one of our campgrounds we used to always go to.
Yeah.
That's the first picture I have as far as young as I was. Like I said, I got into golf because of my brothers. I didn't really know this would be the type of job I would have within the golf industry.
Yeah.
When I was 13 years old, I knew I was just going to play golf for a living. I was going to play on the PGA Tour. That was the dream. I was going to travel the world. I was going to be Tiger Woods. Then I realized how good people are. I played college golf in the States. After 2 years of college, I turned professional. Use that term loosely comparatively to, the PGA Tour. Those are the real professionals making a living.
Yeah.
So I found out pretty quickly I was not going to be, buying a house and a new car and all that stuff because of my skills at golf.
Fair enough.
On the worldwide stage, it's a little more competitive than I think I gave it credit for when I was a youngster. And I found a way, obviously, like when golf's your passion, one way or another, I knew I would make a living at golf.
Yep.
I was a kid in high school. I mean, I never thought about what I would do with the rest of my life. It was always golf. It was always going to be golf, one way or another. So I guess I was manifesting golf before I knew that was even a thing.
So, on the grand scheme of things, when you say, like, you were a professional, how do you earn that title? Like, is it like a title you give yourself, you become a pro at a certain golf course? Like, how does one become a professional?
Yeah, so that's actually a really good question. So there's a couple different ways about going, let's say, becoming a professional. So there's one, as far as if I'm talking Canadian right now, like the CPGA, which is the Canadian Professional Golf Association. Professionals in there somewhere. But basically you potentially go to school and you get a degree within the golf industry. And then there's a playability test. So you would basically go, random course would be selected, and you have to go shoot a certain score. And if you shoot that certain score over a 2-day window, then you essentially get your CPGA card. So that would be going the teaching aspect if you want to go to school and spend the money and become, ideally, let's say, a head pro. Okay. This day and age, it's a little bit different. Like, there's not necessarily head pros at every golf course. Yep. That used to be a thing. You basically had to have a head pro. The other way is you play in professional golf events. So essentially, you go and pay an entry fee to play in a professional golf tournament. You're essentially signing up saying you're willing to accept the money if you do good enough and make money.
Yeah.
You are now a professional golfer because you have played for money. So it's a little bit different as far as
loose.
It's very loose as far as, hey, Bob's shoots 90 every single week. He can go sign up in a pro event, and now he's a professional golfer.
What's wrong with 90? I'm happy if I'm hitting 90, man.
90's okay. I mean, it's all relative if you can have fun playing the game. But essentially, it's unlike hockey. Like, You can't just go play for the Toronto Marlies and be a professional.
That's true.
Because you played one game. You can't.
That's fair.
So golf's a little bit weird. You can essentially buy your professional status by playing an event. Another really weird one, you probably played in charity events or golf tournaments. There's a $25,000 hole-in-one.
Yeah.
If you get a hole-in-one tomorrow, if you want that money, you're a professional. You've accepted money from golf. Nice. The easiest way for you to turn pro is to get a hole-in-one at a charity golf event, essentially.
Yeah, people would be so disappointed when they played with me.
Yeah.
I thought you were good.
So yeah, there's different avenues you can take. That's a whole other podcast about maybe my opinions on those different avenues and the saturation of the market of go to school, pay your money, become a pro.
For sure.
There's only X amount of golf courses. You get a good head pro at a good golf course, that's one person in that one town for 25 years. Thousands of kids going to school to become a head pro. Where are these jobs
Where are these
coming?
jobs? Yeah. And it's good. It's good for you to explain how, like, you got paid as a pro, correct?
Yes. Well, sometimes.
Well, like, did you ever work on a golf course like that?
No.
Like, as a head pro?
No. I very quick golf career would be played junior golf, played college golf, turned pro, played the Great Lakes Tour, which is around the Toronto area. Played in a few Canadian Tour events through sponsors exemptions, one in my hometown in Seaforth, actually a few times. The minor league tour down in Florida. And that was the playing aspect of trying to play to be a professional.
Okay.
Obviously, along that, now I'm more on the side of teaching. And I guess this is where I do my teaching now, so to speak. But no, I've never belonged to like a head pro of a club. That was never really my jam.
Okay. So when you were going to Florida, that was strictly to just be gone for the crappy winter months here and just to go play golf.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff I don't want to get picked up at Border Patrol, so I'm not going to talk about. But yeah, essentially for a decade. My first year, this is actually, so I'd say my first year, let me figure this out, 05, I believe it was. I was 19 years old. I just said, my brother actually, he helped me drive to Florida. And by help me drive to Florida, he drove the entire way. I slept off and on. We picked up a newspaper. Yeah. We went to the beach. We found a room for rent. 19 years old, $1,200 to my name. A 1988 SR5 truck and my golf clubs. Wow. And that was it. I mean, I had a reason I was going down there. But yeah, essentially that's how my first trip to Florida went. I talked to a few schools when I was down there. So that was before I played college golf. I basically took my extra year off after high school and went down there, talked to a couple schools, visited a few schools, visited some coaches. And I mean, that was kind of the first step towards playing college golf. But
okay, that's commitment. That's like when you hear people here that want to be an actor or go do comedy and they go to LA. Like you go for your break, you know what I mean? Like you go there on a mission, you go there to try and find something, and obviously it's gonna let you know right then and there if it's for you, right?
Yeah, so it's really funny you say that because like I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I just listened to one with Ed Millett, Dierks Bentley, country singer.
Yeah.
You say I don't even know who he is other than I listen to his podcast, and he talked about essentially he went, I think it was
Nashville.
No, well, he went to Nashville, but there's doesn't matter, spot in between. But yeah, he went to Nashville, and that's how his break. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, wow, that's courageous. Like, well, that's crazy. You have no idea how it's gonna pan out. You just leave your hometown and not realizing I did that. I guess I did that. To me, that just was in my blood. I'm gonna leave Canada in the winter to go down to Florida to play golf. Ooh,
so you can play year round.
So scary, but like to me, that's the dream, isn't it? Get out of the Canadian North, go play golf down in Florida. So it wasn't.
Most people here don't get that till retirement.
Yeah, so it wasn't to me at the time, it didn't sound crazy, but when I listen to podcasts and actor stories or country music stories and they go to that place, it seems to me that seems more daunting, I guess, when it's not in that realm. It's been my life since I was probably 6 or 7 years old, so didn't even think twice about it really. Yeah.
So at this point you were a pro, you were going back and forth to the States to play golf every winter. Where did Birds Golf get introduced to this?
So Birds Golf. So let's just say, without talking too much about my Florida lifestyle, caddying. So I may have caddied down there for the time while I was down there, and a buddy of mine from England, This is going 10 years ago, ballpark. Became really good friends. We played golf every day. We caddied together, and you're carrying heavy bags for other rich people.
Yeah.
And someday you're like, my feet hurt. This is not the way I want to pay my bills.
Yeah.
And so we got chatting, and I've been an entrepreneur brain since I was the guy trying to wheel and deal and sell jerseys and sell clothes and sell shoes to make a buck to do something else. And fashion and golf obviously has always been a passion of mine. I'd like to, well, that's a lie. He'll probably take credit for that. Actually, he probably started to teach me a little bit about fashion in the golf industry, and then from there we decided let's create a brand. What's it take? Well, let's get a cool logo and let's see where it takes us.
That's the main thing that drives me to a piece of clothing. Before I even care what it feels like, how it fits, any of that shit. You know how many shirts I own that don't fit right?
Yeah.
Because I loved how it looked.
They look cool.
Went into Winners and found a bunch of shirts that looked sweet, and I was like, this will work, I'm a large.
Yeah.
Then it looks like a tank top on me. Yeah. So, like, if the brand is good. Like, I love the logo. Everyone loves the logo. It's the one compliment that I hear all the time when I'm wearing your shit on golf courses.
I appreciate that, and that's obviously that was the starting, that was the foundation of the brand. I mean, we didn't know for sure. I knew hats was going to be the main thing because obviously I'm balding. I'm covering up my bonnet, so hats was going to be the main thing. But the brand and the logo was where it began. I mean, drawings on the back of a pin sheet is how it started. And if for those of you that might not know what the logo is, if you see it now, I guess up here, but it's a bird with a circle around it. If you're golf, your goal is to make birdies. You want to put a birdie on the card, which is 1 under par. And when you do that, or you have the privilege of doing that, you put a circle around it. So that's the premise of where the circle around the bird comes from. All right. And you're just getting You're just getting this now.
I don't hit birdies, man. I don't know you circled them.
So that's where you see the logo, but you don't even. So some people might not know what it means, but they still think the logo's cool. It's eye catching.
It is.
It's not in your face golf. There's nothing on it. It's a bird with a circle. There's not a big golf club sticking out of its beak. It's not in your face golf. But if you get it, and once you do get it, it kind of has another meaning to it as well.
No, I love it. I wish I'd known that. I don't hit birdies, so I don't usually circle them, so I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I think I've noticed people that I've played with that have hit birdies, they circle it, and I didn't really catch up on what they were doing. Like, maybe they're like, I'm going to remember this hole. I did real good on it.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But it is a kick-ass logo. Like, it really is. It looks nice on all the stuff you got here, and the hats has always been, like, the big thing that caught my eye.
Yeah.
So
I'm just staring at your logo on the chest of it. Go ahead.
Sitting down and trying to, like, you guys just scribbled this bird.
If I wish I could show you the 27 days of pin sheets of the logo manifesting. I mean, we went on Google, we typed in, we wanted to start with an animal.
Yeah, for sure.
Think of some iconic, like Lacoste is just an iconic logo. It's an alligator. What's the why? I don't know. I don't know what Lacoste means. Probably alligator in a different term. I don't actually know.
It's actually a good question.
But the logo's cool. Like, you like the Lacoste logo. So we wanted to start with an animal. We were in on animals. There's a bunch of different golf brands that have vineyard vines, very high-end clothing. It's a big whale. Okay. Also just a cool logo. I don't care about vineyard vines. It's not even a cool name, but the logo's cool. Yeah. So we're like, what's cool? Let's get an animal. Obviously, what animals relate to golf? I mean, you could pick an elephant. It might be a cool logo, but there's no second meaning.
Yeah.
So the bird is obviously the simple one. Did a little bit of research to find out there isn't any golf brands called Birds Golf. That was kind of fascinating because it seems pretty simple. There's other ones out there that are similar, but there wasn't a Birds Golf. And then the logo, it took some time. We had some terrible drawings that if you look back at them now, it would I literally pulled what out. We're like, wow, that was at one point what we were thinking about. So like to get to where it got to, and we, at the very start, once we came up with this, I liked it more than the other guy. And we didn't have the circle at the time. The other guy meaning Craig.
Yeah.
And I was trying to sell him on it. I was like, no, it's cool. Like, it's just simple. It's not, you don't have to explain, like, da-da-da-da-da. And we went back and forth for a couple weeks, and he's like, he sends the drawing back to me, and it's got a circle around it. He's like, let's put a circle around it like you'd circle your birdies. And I was like, done. And we were both all in. So it was happy because, I mean, I'll tell you, business partnership is, it's like any relationship, you know, you think something's cool and your wife doesn't, who wins? How does that argument get settled? You know what I mean? So that was where it's like, I'm trying to sell him on this logo. He wasn't all in on the logo, but then he puts a circle around it. So it's his input into the same logo. And we both loved it, meshed, perfect, move on. We got a logo, now we can start building the brand. But
that's a cool way to start it.
Yeah.
So it's just like sitting down, I'm going to start selling something related to golf, keep myself in the industry.
Yeah, so I would say it's, you know, talking, we probably played over the course of 10 years, we've probably played 75 rounds of golf together. In every round of golf, we were probably talking about a different way to try to make money to quit the jobs we had at some point.
Fair enough, I've been there.
And hats, I've always had a hat obsession, you know, losing my hair since probably college. Hats was my thing, it's my go-to, that's my outlet. Create some expression with a hat now, and I can do my own colors, perfect. And then obviously it got into other golf essentials, and we'll continue to kind of build it as we go.
Well, the brand is obviously building fairly quick. You've been in this, what, a year and a half?
Yeah, so the logo was created basically a touch over 2 years ago. Our first product, our first shipment of hats we got in was just, I think, September of 2019. The first 50 hats that came in. So just a touch over 2 years, really.
Now you got hats, shirts, towels, ball markers, tees,
belts. I mean, I think there's 11. We got training aids sold out right now. So things like that are selling out, which is really cool. It's like you always buy the stuff and you're like, oh God, I hope this sells. And now it's to the point, I need one of those. I'm like, I don't have any more of those right now. So yeah, the clothing, you know.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, the hats, the shirts are probably going to be the main focus. The gloves are essentials. The golf tees are essentials that kind of work very well within T-Bird Golf Academy as well. You come in here, you need a glove or you need some tees, we can sell that. Obviously, there's lots of other things and several more ideas that we want to get to. It's kind of that part of me has to pull the other part of me back and say, slow down, don't get too far ahead of yourself.
Worry about what you have so far.
Yeah, so it's been a learning curve, but good.
I think that's any business, especially when you started it and then a pandemic happened.
Yeah, so, not ideal times.
No, definitely not. When did T-Bird Golf Academy get brought into it?
So T-Bird Golf Academy, so going back, so T-Bird Golf Academy started, this is my 6th year with the range here. The business itself, it's been here for, God, I don't even know, 35, 45 years, and it's switched hands, and it went to different owners, and, you know, everyone's had it was their baby for a little while, so it's been my baby for 6 years. I didn't really start selling the Birds Golf stuff in here until this year, and that was the main reason for the renovation inside. Obviously got this very nice display unit to put the stuff on display. A lot of the essentials like tees we were selling a couple of years ago, not my branded tees, but golf tees. And then it turned into, now we have the branded golf tees and the golf gloves, and now we have the hats and the shirts and all that stuff here. But T-Bird Golf Academy, we didn't do any of that. It was buckets of balls and golf lessons for the first 5 years. So
dude, this place has come a long way. Do you remember where this used to be? Like the original, where the counter used to sit?
Yeah. So, and when you say this, believe me, it was
not this. I remember it.
It was tiles that matched the floor that were glued to a piece of plywood. It
wasn't sitting here in the room.
No. So yeah,
that's where it was.
It was over there in an L shape, and I think it was there for. Well, I know it was there going back at least 3 owners, because on some of the wood that held up the counter was the first day the batting cages were open, and their first sale of $6 they made, which is going back probably 25 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so thankfully I took pictures of the renovation in during the duration of the process, because I wouldn't even recognize it anymore. Like looking around here right now, it's like it's night and day. And
it's a nice change.
Yeah, people, and that's the biggest thing is anyone that's walked in the door before this year, as soon as they walk in, they're like, oh wow, you've changed this place around. So it's nice when everyone notices that you've actually changed it around. So
it's dramatic. I remember this place, man.
It was
like there was like a big long cooler right here that had like ice cream and stuff in it.
Yeah, and even that was probably in its nicer days. You know what I mean? So it had
its time where it got, and it obviously would. it's good that you grabbed the court, like you grabbed this and then started to make it so much nicer. Like I don't remember when I went here as a kid, I don't ever remember having a chip on.
Yeah, so the guy before me that bought this place, so I think, and I don't even know because this was before my time, but when he first started, the parking lot was twice as big as it is now when it needed to be a quarter the size because they didn't get as much traffic. So he cut the parking lot in half. He added the chipping area and the tee deck. It used to just be, I think, kind of flat grass and a bunch of mats.
Yeah.
So that's obviously a great addition to have. And then the mini golf was my very first renovation. Like I bought the place, and when it was official, I put a bunch of money into the mini golf because it was a hodgepodge of rotting wood, different painted stuff, several different shades of carpet, some holes with exposed concrete. So that was the first renovation, was the mini golf, and kind of each year trying to do something to, to make it a little bit nicer, I guess. And here we are 6 years later, and it's 6 years updated, I guess, or 6 things have been updated throughout the course.
It makes a big difference because I remember that, well, like, again, I keep referring back to when I was a kid because the time when I was done high school and going to college didn't really come to the driving range. I was worried about getting drunk and going to my buddy's college house. You know what I mean? Yeah. But from when I was a kid to now, like, it's still a dramatic change. But, like, I remember when this place was booming. Because what else did you do in Tillsonburg to go out and have fun? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you didn't golf full time, like, or didn't go to like a full size golf course, or didn't want to spend the money to go out and play golf, this was the next best thing. Batting cages. Where else did we have to go?
Yeah.
Like we have to drive to London. Like
yeah, and it's still that way. Like so, I didn't grow up in Tillsonburg, so I mean I didn't see this. I think going back maybe as far as 10 years ago, I worked at the club in town, just helping out the end of the 1 year. And then I worked for my buddy here before I ended up buying into the place. But I mean, even then, I mean, I seen the days that it was booming, so to speak, and like now fast forward 10 years later, now what's there to do in Tillsonburg? There's still not a whole lot to do. So kind of funny actually. I got a phone call like last week. Don't know the guy's name. I think it was Dave, but I could be wrong. And he calls up and he's like, "Hey, do you guys still have mini golf there?" I'm like, "Yep, still have mini golf, driving range, yep, batting cages, yep." He goes, "Me and my wife had our first date there, and we want to come back and do it all." I was like, "That's pretty cool." I was like, "And how long have you been married?" 15 years. This guy 15 years ago for their first date came here, and here we are. Fast forward, you still got the same mini golf. It's we updated it, made it a little bit nicer. I'd like to think, put fresh carpet down and that stuff. We try to take care of the tee deck and that, but this has been, let's say, a staple in Tillsonburg for a long time. There hasn't been a whole lot to do in town, and this is an outlet for your, date night or kids' birthday parties, or the whole family can come out here. And sometimes the family comes out here and the wife and kids play mini golf and dad goes and hits balls. And, sometimes it's, we'll reconvene in an hour. So it's pretty, or the kids get dropped off, mom goes and gets groceries and then comes back and picks their kids up. So
that's fair too.
Yeah, it's pretty wide range of people that come here. I mean, people that haven't touched a golf club before to the seasoned golfer that's coming here to really fine tune and dial in his game. So it's the demographic is wide.
Is this a live deck up here? Like this is actually just grass?
Yep.
Up top?
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of a nice option.
Yeah, so
They didn't have that one.
No, yeah, it's the mats is great for less maintenance. For a perspective of me, I wish everybody hit off the mats because I don't have to worry about your divots. But more realistic approach is the tee deck.
100%, yeah, it's a nice option. Obviously, everyone's goal with running a small business is to try and grow. That's obviously their main goal. What is your overall goal though for T-Burg and Birds?
Yeah, so for T-Burg, I mean, T-Burg obviously was kind of a nod to the community as far as Tillsonburg. There you go, T-Burg, and you spelt it obviously a little cheesy, I guess, to go with the golf T.
I love it.
It was that, or call it Brad Henderson Golf Academy, which to me, this isn't my place, it's for the community. So that was kind of the T-Burg Golf Academy. So there'll only be one T-Burg Golf Academy, but to say I wouldn't want another driving range, I'd love to have another place like this and maybe another neighboring town and have another thing going. Ultimately, it's one of those things like I am here many hours. I love it here. It's great. It's not like it doesn't seem like a real job because I get to do what I love. But at the same time, why not have another one or have 3 of them and run that instead of being here working the hours? So as far as that goes, as far as the golf academy or driving range, yeah, I'd love to have another one, maybe in another town. Not something that's going to compete with my own.
Fair enough.
So something far enough away, but I mean, it's one of those things. Every 30 minutes, there's another town that needs something that a family can go and enjoy together. And then as far as Birds Golf, that's the big dream where you're hoping to create a brand that 10 or 15 years from now, you look back at how it all began and just shake your head in disbelief that you're like, wow, we made it. But I would say, we're in a couple locations right now. Obviously, T-Bird Golf Academy being our main one. Talked to the owner and got us in here.
Yeah.
But then the Oxford Hills, we got in there with our hats and getting, hopefully next year with the pro shop actually being built or the clubhouse being built, we'll be able to have a lot more of our products, which has been great. A lot of good feedback that people that have played there. And then we're in another location called the Barntique, which is not golf related, but is I'll tell you, it's been eye-opening. I'm learning every day that, just because it's a golf brand, it doesn't have to only be in golf places. I mean, everybody can appreciate a good hat or a good shirt, a good belt.
Luckily is you don't spray golf all over it.
Yeah.
You know
So
I mean?
it's, you could wear our flower peaked hats, for example. I mean, you look like a surfer in them. They're a flat peak, wear them backwards and you'd never wear it. Someone, that guy's wearing a golf hat. Like, you'd never know. So obviously, as far as that, our goal short term is to get into, let's say, 5 more golf shops. And then after that, get into 25 more golf shops. And each year just slowly build. Last year, I sent out probably 150 emails to different golf courses saying, hey, like, this is our new brand. We want to get in your shop. And basically the feedback was, you're too late. We did our ordering 2 months ago. And I'm like, oh, I thought I was ahead of the curve. So that was step 1 learning curve. And in hindsight,
It's nice to know, though.
that happened. I would say that happened. It happened for me to learn that I was not ready. If I would have got into 15 golf shops, I would have ruined relationships with 15 golf shops. I wouldn't have had the amount of product. I wouldn't have had the right overhead. I wouldn't have the systems in place to be able to organize that stuff. So getting in those couple locations really opened my eyes to part of the process. So that's why, would I want to be in 100 shops tomorrow? Yeah. Can I be? Unfortunately, not yet. So my goal next year is to get into 5 golf shops, see how those 5 go, and slowly build. Sometimes I got to remember I got a whole lifetime for this brand to become something.
Yeah.
You look back, you go to Google, and I'm getting so far off topic right now, but
You're fine.
If you go type in like Under Armour.
Yeah.
If I said, how long do you know of Under Armour? How long has it been around that you really remember Under Armour? How long has it been? I put you on the spot here.
6 years, 7 years.
6 years, 7 years. So
like where it's become like
it's
competing with Nike,
know about
what I
it
mean?
exactly. Yeah, it's a brand now, right? Well, now I should know the date, but I'll tell you right now, it's a lot older than 6 years old. And I one day we sat there and Googled these top brands, and we're like, oh my god, it's been around for 35 years. I haven't known about it for 5. Now I hope I'm not 65 before people know what Birds Golf really is. But at the same time, you got to understand it's a long process. You're trying to reach. There's probably, I don't know how many golfers in the world, but every golfer that wears a hat is a potential customer. And it's going to take a long time to reach every potential golfer before it's a common household name. And I get that. And I'm happy to wait and see how long it takes. But
yeah, it'll be worth it in the long run. One of the things that I believe about the brand is I believe that eventually this brand could be huge online. And the reason why I say that is because people can see your hats everywhere and love the hat. But looking at what you have to offer, what other golf brand offers 15 different colored hats and 3 different options of what the color of the logo is? You know what I mean? I know that's not actually how many you have, but
yeah, keep going.
like how many customizable hats, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like TaylorMade, Callaway, all these brands have their specific hats. They don't care. Here you go.
Yeah.
They sell clubs.
They sell golf clubs,
You know
and
what
they'll
I mean?
sell them at $2,000 per customer to buy your set of clubs. The hats, they have 3 or 4.
And they're cheap, and you can tell why they don't care about their hats.
Yeah.
To have a brand where I'm not a pro golfer.
What?
If I can go out and look half decent,
Yeah.
and then not look great when I'm hitting the golf ball, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like,
And
the online market it's hard for you to put every single kind of hat you have in someone's store. It's never going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's never going to happen. But to get big enough to where people know to go to the online store, like we were talking about Vice Golf, just to bring it up.
Yeah.
They are an online store. Like, I'm sure they have something physical. I
don't think they do.
But it's huge.
Yeah.
It's massive. And they never had to have a storefront.
Yeah.
Like, the online e-commerce market is massive, and I think that the brand itself could do really well online.
Yeah, and that's where, I mean, so the one, if there's anyone listening here that can help me out with this would be great, because hey, I'm still learning on the go. The biggest hurdle right now, well, there's a couple hurdles, but like we won't get into all that, doesn't really matter, but the biggest hurdle is shipping. Shipping, it's an absolute joke, the cost of shipping. It's actually cheaper for me to ship one hat in a box to Florida than it is to ship one hat in a box the same size, the same weight to Toronto.
What?
Yeah, it cost me like $4 more to ship one hat to Toronto than it does to Florida. So the shipping, I don't understand. Like they say, well, it comes with tracking in Canada. Well, okay, I don't want the tracking for $4 for the hat to travel 1 hour.
Yeah. If it gets lost, there's a bigger issue then.
Yeah. So the shipping is one of those hurdles. So like online, we offer a free shipping if you spend over $100. We do charge like $9.99 shipping if your order's under $100. Well, that $9.99 covers half the shipping cost. So now I'm taking profit out of my end to ship that. So that's where shipping is.
But it's also like you can't not offer shipping. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I can't drive door to door right now. Exactly. I might be able to drive door to door with my products as far as if you order in my town.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't drive my hat to Florida. So when you're buying a hat, let's say Canadian dollars for $40, but it's going to cost you $60 because shipping's $20. You're not going to buy that hat. Yeah. So you don't want to lose customers because of the cost of shipping. So that's kind of one of the hurdles we're dealing with. And, essentially we're just taking less money profit in a hat if we have to ship it so that the customer doesn't have to eat the whole shipping cost.
Have you ever thought about like putting it on a specific site, like Amazon or anything?
Yeah. So
I don't know how Amazon stuff works.
Yeah. So I'll tell you,
the fact that I can get something the next day.
Yeah. No. And this is. Yeah, so it's amazing that way. So like, let's just say, okay, I'm gonna have your navy blue hat, which is one of our best sellers. I'm gonna ship 24 to Amazon. I'm gonna sell them for $40. Well, it costs me shipping to ship them to Amazon first off. Then they're gonna ship them for me for a fee. They take a 15% fee to hold or sell the product. When it's all said and done, that hat, if I sell it for my $40, I might make $1 on it. Shipping, well, not even shipping. Amazon, their back end fees are that's another whole new podcast for that side of the business. So that's where it's a consumer as a golfer. You can't golf online. You're gonna go golf at a golf course.
That's fair.
So that's where what I'm hoping is we have, let's say, 3 main colors in a lot of different golf shops, but we have different main colors in each shop. So you might go to like golf course A and you might see the navy blue and white, a heather with white, and then a black with white, let's say. And you like the logo, Birds Golf's the brand, so you search it up, and then you come across the online store and realize, there's all these other options, amazing. But then if you go play another club an hour away and you come across the same logo there, but it's 3 different hats. If you see the same 3 hats in every shop, you might buy one at shop 1, but you're not going to buy another one at shop 2 or another one at shop 3. So it's one of those things that like
it's a good idea, and it's very hard with how like it's awesome how crazy amount of options you have in the hats, which is super nice because the odds of seeing someone with the same hat as you is rare because of how often the tee times are, and you're not going to run into someone who has the same hat. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's always something that I didn't like when I was in like high school and stuff, like having the same hat. But it's different when you're golfing, I guess. But it is a very good idea to have them in different courses like that. Mm-hmm. Especially when you have 3 different hats in each. Did you have problems with the quality when you first started getting hats?
The hats themselves, no. So that was the thing. That was the biggest, like, whatever you want to call it, the benchmark of the brand from day one. Yeah. I said we're not going to try to make an extra buck on the hat and try to make our a cheap hat or buy the cheaper hats. We're going to go, if you look at a Puma hat and you look in the tags, it's a flex fit hat. Yeah. Some of the biggest brands out there are using flex fit for a reason. They're known in the industry to be top quality hats. all the hats that I grew up, Hurley
Yep.
and Puma.
Yeah.
Those Kangol, those are all flex fit hats. I loved all those hats. So I'm going to start a golf brand, and I need to get a supplier for a hat. I'm going to the best, in
fair.
my opinion. There's, if you're a baseball player, you probably want New Era, or there's very comparable. But FlexFit was the brand. We're using that. Now, we struggled at the start we had to get our logo remade because some of the lines weren't big enough for the embroidering to work, and the 3D didn't work right, and some stuff was too thick, some stuff was too thin. So that was a process to figure out how to fine tune to get the logo where we wanted it, that the lines are solid without, wrecking the hat itself. We had some issues. There's always growing pains, but the hat itself, that's, a golf hat, it's great. As far as a business standpoint too, you wear it out in the sun, you sweat in it, you're gonna wear out a hat. But if the hat was awesome the whole time you had it and it's comfy, where are you gonna go buy your next hat?
Exactly.
You're gonna go buy the same brand hat because you like the way it fits.
And like you said, like your logo doesn't just scream golf. You know what I mean? Like some people might know it as golf. They see the bird, they see it circle, like, oh, that must be. I sure as hell didn't know until 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But it's nice that you can throw on that hat and go do other shit. Like I personally wear the hat all the time, and honestly, I've had golf hats. I've had hats that say the golf on the side, or the Titleist ones that say Pro V1 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I don't want to wear it unless I'm going to play golf.
So the fact that you say that, I don't have this information. I had no idea how we were going to get talking about whatever, but there is an Instagram account, and I don't know word for word, but you'll find it if you look for it. It's literally called like something like Golf Hats in Public. And it's literally pictures of people out at bars or out at places wearing that Titleist golf hat, wearing that Ping golf hat. That's not cool. It's a golf hat. Like, your girlfriend bought you a golf hat because she knows you like golf, but the style is meh at best.
Yeah.
And people are basically getting shamed for wearing these hats out in public because, hey, that hat belongs on a golf course and a golf course only.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think we're not one of those hats. I hope not. I've been wearing the hat every day since we started the brand.
You're on that page.
Yeah, I'm on that page. Hey, I'd be happy if Birds Golf made it on that page. That'd be all right. But not to say like Titleist doesn't have nice golf hats. They do.
Sure.
But their
mass though is.
Yeah, I mean.
Our
price point will come down if we could make 10 million hats at a time, probably.
Yeah.
As well, but we're not there yet.
And you also have a lot of options for hats, and now you have toques that have nothing to do with golf.
No.
It is a brand. Like, as much as golf is your passion, you sell a lot of things that are associated with golf. Yeah. Birds is a brand. Do you ever think that moving forward with the brand, you'll ever like start selling products that are non-golf related but are Birds logoed?
Yeah. So when I talk about like I have to like rein myself in sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like as far as there's a few ideas now, like we've talked about, creating, and this is like, hey, let's be successful with one first. If you can't make it in the industry, if there's one industry I know, it's golf. You know what I mean? That's the industry I know. I don't lift weights. I'm not a gym rat, let's say.
Yeah.
But like, hey, could we make Birds an umbrella, and golf is one of those underneath the umbrella of Birds, and it's Birds Golf. And there could be, let's say, Birds Blades. That could be hockey, per se. It's possible, but I'd rather get really good at my one industry, and my niche is golf. Golf's my life. Once I master that, maybe at that point, maybe we'll just start a whole different company with a different name.
That's fair.
The Birds started golf related with the golf logo. Can it only be that? Not necessarily.
I just like, and obviously I know which one I would choose, but that's just based on money. If you take money out of it, I just mean like there's a company like TaylorMade. Yeah. TaylorMade's a golf company. That's what they do. Maybe they make something else, but I sure as hell don't know what that is.
Okay, so they make hockey sticks as well.
TaylorMade does?
TaylorMade does, but they might be under an umbrella of like, and I could be wrong butchering this, but like under Easton. But there was legit TaylorMade hockey sticks a decade ago.
Oh, wow. But like I compare like TaylorMade to Nike. You know what I mean? Like Nike just recently got out of golf clubs. Well, like probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Still make golf apparel. They're an apparel company. But they made clubs. They make soccer balls. They make a basketball. They make a...
Yeah. But what is... Nike's a shoe company.
Agree.
That they're a shoe company that now they have evolved. and they've learned. They got out of the golf industry because they didn't make money at it. They had the number one player to ever play the game as their reputable brand.
It's true.
Repping their brand.
That costs
about $100 million, I think. But like, and they still couldn't make it, or they're bleeding money, so they got out of the industry. They're smart enough to take a step back and get out of it.
Even if they can do it and not make money, they're in it to make money.
Yeah, they're in it to make
money. They're definitely in it to make money. But like, that's what I mean. Like, when you compare it to a TaylorMade versus a Nike brand, take away the money and how big they are. Let's just say TaylorMade was the same size as Nike.
Okay.
Which type of company would you like to own? If you could have a company that was just as successful just doing golf stuff, would you ever get into anything else?
I think no. I'd rather stay. Like, I mean, business for me, business is it's a passion. Is why you can put the hours in.
Yeah, I completely know that.
My passion is golf. It's always been golf.
Yeah.
So if I could make 100%, let's just say the dollar amount's $100 million. If I could make $100 million and only be in the golf industry, that's my life 365. Or I can make $100 million, but I'm in the hockey industry, the golf industry, the tech industry, the vehicle industry, every other industry. I want golf. I just want golf. I want golf to be my brand.
Trust me, I like listening to myself talk. I've figured out what I want to do.
Yeah. If I can make, well, I mean, $100 million, I think I'll probably be content with that. But if I could make if I could make $1 billion to be in all the industries because they're all making $100 million, yeah, I'll take the billion
for sure.
But no, I think
that's why I made it apples to apples.
Yeah, apples to apples. I want to be in the golf industry. That's what I know. That's my passion. And like they said, if you like what you do, you'll never work another day in your life. And that's closer to where I am now than I ever was 10 years ago working in a factory, packing salt.
No, I hear that. Were you local packing salt?
In Seaforth.
Oh, okay. I packed salt when I was just out of high school.
Oh, yeah. Been there night
shift.
Just
outside of Elmer. Man, I'm glad I am where I am now.
That's a whole other podcast.
But, well, it is impressive because you think about all the little things that you have, and you talked about how, like we talked before the podcast, about how you bring in a sampler. Yeah. Because some stuff just doesn't come the way that you're happy selling it.
Yeah.
What was the hardest product to get perfect?
Oh,
I want to say glove.
Some of the, well, yeah. So yeah, I mean, they all have their pros and cons, right? Some stuff is cheaper to get the samples, or the quantity minimums aren't as big, so it's not as risky per se. The head covers is one of those ones where we got lucky. The sample just came in and it was a no-brainer. Boom, love it. Order them, done. Great.
Yeah, fair enough.
Shirts was not that easy. First of all, you have to make a pattern that you think's cool. I'm not a fashion designer.
You chose these?
Not that one specifically, but the first maybe that's why we don't have the shirt that the pattern I did make. I still think it's cool. I'm pretty sure it'll still come out.
All right.
But that was, a 3-month process to go through the fabrics, to get the pattern, to get it made, to get it shipped. It showed up. It looked like I was wearing a bowling shirt. It's shiny. I've wore it here. But, and then it's like, well, okay, step back to the drawing board. Yeah. What do I hate? Do I hate the color, or do I hate the fabric that it's on that makes the color appear differently? And then it's like, is the color not a color I like, or is that a color that most people don't think twice about? The stuff, the hats, the stitching in the hats was probably the hardest thing. My buddy in England, same thing. We go back and forth. I got a new order in and the beaks kinked the hat. I got a new order in and the stitching is too loose. I got a new order in and it's too thick.
He orders birds too?
So he'll get his hat. So he does his same thing, flex fit hats.
Yeah.
But he's obviously getting his embroidered in England.
Yeah.
I'm getting mine embroidered locally now, which is like my 5th different company that I've been using to help embroider my hats. So that in the long and short, the hats embroidering has been my biggest or the most annoying.
Haven't bought an embroidery machine yet?
No, we looked into it.
They're not cheap.
No, they're sure not. And that's where we're talking about, settle down. Let's.
That's
it's
fair.
Like, yeah.
If you had an unlimited bank account, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But then you gotta have time and workers to do that all the time because I'm gonna sit there and bust out 400 hats.
Yeah, and let's be honest. I can't wait for the day that birds golf becomes my main hustle. But it's my side hustle right now. and I'm already in the golf industry that is a very full-time job. So you got to find your windows to work on that, and it typically is late at night.
That's fair.
But yeah, so biggest hurdle, I guess, so far to date is the hat. I mean, every product has its pros and cons, its ups and downs, and nothing's been first shot, that's perfect, move on.
So the hats, you knew you were going flex fit from the beginning?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No
so you got
question.
them in, the hats were always solid. It was just figuring out how to get your logo on it and it looked proper.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have seen the like pull of fabric. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like where it gets embroidered and starts pulling. Well, obviously you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
But it starts pulling every different angle.
A year
of the
ago,
hat.
I didn't know.
But yeah, like going through that stuff with like merch that I want to sell for the podcast as well. Like you get to see some of the stuff and you're like, you start to think that your logo's not going to work for what you want to put it on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You start like talking to different people. Like my logo's a little more complex than that, just because I have words all over it.
Yeah.
It's harder to have shrunk down and put on hats and put on smaller items because, especially in the embroidery, in fact, because it's pulling everywhere and everything's so close to one another. So yeah. I don't get the headache as much because I'm not really into it yet, but I can definitely see how it would be frustrating.
Well, and ours was, so like a flat embroidery obviously is a lot easier. Well, it's easier.
You'd have to go right to the hat manufacturer, right?
Well, no, a flat embroidery meaning it doesn't puff out. So like the hat you're wearing, the hat I'm wearing, it's got a puff to it, so it sticks out, so it's 3D.
Yep.
So that is a whole new.
I know what you mean. That's
a whole
flat.
This is a flat. Yeah. There's no bound. There's no whatever. There's no puffiness to it, or 3D effect. So just checking it as low. You want to look at your belt. There's all different types to do it, but so the 3D embroidering is a whole different file than your flat embroidery, and that's where I said we had to redo our logo because the lines weren't thick enough to be able to do 3D. Yet from the very start, we're going to do hats and we're going to do a 3D logo. That was the starting block. And then
it is nice that it's 3D.
And then we get our first hat order, and they're like, "Well, your file isn't big enough to be able to do 3D importation." We're like, "What?" We're like, "What's this mean?"
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I spent more hours on YouTube looking up embroidering and different stuff than I care to admit. So yeah, everything's been a learning curve.
But that is the difference where you explain, like, doing something you love every day, it's not a job anymore.
No.
Like, this sure as heck isn't an all-time thing for me. I love my job anyway, which is good. It gives me the time to do stuff that I want to do as well. But I know what you mean, where I sat down and it was like, how do I get this thing on Spotify? And then it's like, it's not just like, you know, finish the episode, figure out how to freaking run editing software to make it into an episode, then make it into a file, render it, then put it onto Spotify, and then I get to Spotify with it, and it's like, you need an RSS feed, and I'm like,
what's that?
And then I'm sitting on YouTube for an hour and a half trying to figure out how I'm going to put this thing up, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
So I definitely see where it's like, it does somewhat seem strenuous, but if it is something that you're actually passionate about, it doesn't really seem as big of a deal. You just want to get there, you know what I mean? It's so much easier. The best way I've explained it is, I sucked at high school. Terrible. Could care less if I was there. You know what I mean?
Makes two of us.
Got out of high school, really wanted to be an electrician, and I loved electrical. I went to school for it. I ended up doing a 2-year college diploma for it. Got to college and crushed it. Like, ended up taking high school teachers and their kids that I had in high school through the walkthrough because I was one of the top students, and I got to show them what we do, what we learn every day, and like having science teachers come in that I got to D with, explaining their kid on how I'm going to show them properly and how I'm getting good grades now. It was priceless to see the look on their face. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm rambling now too.
No,
but I get it. Seeing how something that you love, you'll excel at.
Yeah.
Like, you don't love math, you're not going to do great at it. You know what I mean? Like, who the heck loves math? But you found a brand, you found a niche, and it's clearly working. Like, it's the same thing you say to me after being a year in the podcast and growing at the rate I am. It's the same thing for you. It's not cheap for you to bring all this stuff in. It's not cheap for you just to have all this stuff everywhere. But I know for a fact that every single person, like when I got my guys at my wedding to buy the hats, like, use my promo code, get a bunch of stuff, let's go over one of the guys' trip, make sure you guys are all wearing it, kind of thing. They love it. Since then, there's a couple guys that have ordered hats, a couple guys that ordered the belt, a couple guys that ordered the gloves again, and it's a good brand.
And having said that, like, that's, you know, like, we're in a business, like clothing, hats, that stuff. It's repeat business, like, from the start. Family, friends, obviously, huge support locally now as well. But like, your family's gonna buy your stuff to help you out. but they're not going to rebuy more hats if they're not comfy.
100%.
You know, and it's like I get people that come into our shop and buy a hat, and then they come back 2 weeks later and they get another hat with a different color though. And then, you know, you see them, you might know some of these people. That's how we got connected originally.
Oh yeah.
And but that's it. Like the hat, the quality is, you know, when a product sells itself because it's good and it fits good, done. That's it. Like if I have to try to sell every single hat to somebody, I'm going to be exhausted. But if I can sell the hat to someone one time and get you to wear that hat one time and it's comfy, you're going to come back and you'll buy that hat, hopefully for life. Hats aren't going anywhere. And, you know, that's
true. Hats are not going anywhere.
Everyone's
hair is. So,
yeah, everyone's hair is going places.
That brings the sale up of hats.
Yeah,
that's probably how you got Drew in a couple of them.
I wonder if we were mentioning any names. Jesus.
Oh, that's fine. I drop his name all the time. Yeah, you should just tell him to start telling all of his clients that a Birds golf hat really helps motivate.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'd say we can. Oh, if your head's thinning up top or your husband's thinning, I mean, you got to get him a golf hat and you're set. That's it.
That's right. You want an all around. You want a golf hat that he's not going to wear. It's going to say Pro V1 on the side of it. You know what? They got the hat for you.
Yeah.
But regardless, like, I appreciate you having me in here. I appreciate you supporting me from the beginning. Like, I reached out to you, talked to you about how I'm from town. I usually reach out to small businesses to see if they want to sponsor an episode of the podcast. I'll try and sell at least the amount of merch that it costs for the stuff that they give me. Yeah. You know what I mean? But coming in here and seeing your job and seeing what you're doing and seeing how passionate you are about growing Birds golf,
yeah,
it's nice to see. It's nice to be surrounded by people who are trying to excel in the stuff that they're doing outside of their jobs, because it helps motivate me, helps motivate Drew. Maybe you feel the same way about people doing stuff outside of their normal lives.
Yeah, and that's like, well, obviously I'm more than happy to come on here. I had no idea where this was going to go, but it's funny because like you sent an email, which ended up, and an Instagram message, which both of them ended up, one in like whatever junk mail and the other one in like your not primary box. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it's like a request box.
Yeah, request box. So I came across the email randomly, and the only reason I read it, and it just sounded, I didn't know who you were, sounded like almost like scammy, like, hey, I'd like to introduce you on our podcast and help sell some of your stuff, and you can, and I was like, nah, that sounds a little too good to be true. And then I shot you back an email half-heartedly thinking, you know, it's like some sort of scam basically.
Yeah.
But the only reason I did was because we're obviously hoping this winter and some downtime we can start a podcast golf related. So I was like, well, if nothing else, I might be able to learn something about a podcast. And then obviously we made the connection of how you're wearing the golf glove that you got through a buddy or at a Buck and Doe. And that was one
Jeff
of the
Press.
Yeah, so talking about how stuff has evolved, that was one of the first branded golf gloves. We've obviously changed the theme from that one to the next one and trying to make them nicer and making, you know, differences along the way. But yeah, so I mean, it was obviously, I lost my train of thought till I started talking about the brand, but how we met and getting on here. And like you said, like Drew, you mentioned he has a side hustle. This is your side hustle. Birds golf is my side hustle. This day and age, unfortunately, it's a tough way to make a living by just having a job.
Yeah.
So it is interesting to be surrounded and chat. Like I feel like I've known you a lot longer than the couple months it's been. And I appreciate the opportunity to be able to go on here and hopefully talk about like T-Berg and Birds golf and the golf industry. I feel like we didn't even talk about anything really, just had a conversation, but which is fine too. So no, it was very, very good, and thanks for having me on.
If someone wanted to buy golf merch or reach out to you about golf lessons or whatever it may be, what's the easiest way for someone to reach out to you?
So the easiest way, I mean, my phone number. If you're from town, like T-Berg Golf Academy, come right in the shop. I'm typically the guy behind the counter. Instagram for Birds Golf. So birds_golf_NA, which stands for North America. The birds_golf that is on there is my business partner in Europe. So either way, you'll still see a lot of the stuff. But if you want to reach me, I'm the birds_golf_NA. T-Berg Golf Academy. Right now, you can come in here, obviously buy pretty much all of our products are here. The Oxford Hills has our hats. The Barn Teak has a bunch of our product, and ideally we're going to get into some other shops. I'm better at checking my messages now and requests. So if you do send a message and it goes to my junk on Instagram, I will still see it and I will try to get back to you. If it goes to my email, Brad Henderson Lessons at hotmail.com for golf lessons. Anywhere you reach me, you can chat. I'm an open book. If you want golf lessons or golf merch, doesn't matter. However you get a hold of me, we'll get you set up.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, to say the least, and not to like plug the product because I'm in here, the hats are awesome. They're a good quality hat. They're ones that actually fit my head. I remember when I first got them, the first thing I said was they were actually deep enough. Yeah. I hate when a hat's shallow. I'm literally wearing the shirt right now. If you end up watching the video version of this, grass stain on the back because I got a little too many in me and slipped. But the quality of the merchandise is good. It's not a sham. It's not just him trying to make extra money. It is a good brand. I think it'll go a long way. Definitely reach out. There'll be some packages coming here in the winter. They haven't been released yet, but it'd be a nice package to get some merch if you guys are looking forward to it. And I'll make sure I share it on my story when that happens. But thanks for coming on, Brad.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So yeah, Birds Bundles will be coming for the holiday season, so you can have a kind of a cluster of a bunch of different products for a very good value, and for every golfer in your.
If you're looking for some stocking stuffers or some Christmas gifts, it's a good option for the husband or the son.
Absolutely.
Or the wife or the daughter.
For everybody. We're for everybody. But all right, that's appreciate it, man. That's awesome. We're happy that the products are good. Yeah, if you're really unhappy with a product, you bring it to us and tell us why. Because if you're not happy, we want to learn and make it better too. So
that's good. Stand behind your product. And when you start a golf podcast, if you're looking for someone that's at best mediocre, I'll definitely join you.
You're 100% probably going to be interview number one, and we'll talk about your broken putters. So
it works for me. All right, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.